Hey, you there. Oh! You should really check out VFX and chill. We're all doing great here.
Yeah, Death Becomes Her is a lovely Zemeckis movie. Is lovely a good term for that? I don't know. Also, how are you, Seth?
Oh, hi, I'm good. I'm thrown by the fact that our intro didn't work and we're just like cold, like jumping right in. Like I feel weirdly like naked or something. It might be this hole in my chest. Is that, you think, something? Do you think that might be what's causing this?
It could be that.
No, it's just a flesh wound.
Just a sweater wound.
And I'm on backwards here.
And we're explaining our jokes and ourselves. Hey, let's talk to Michael. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael. You are unfamiliar with the Zemeckis classic 1992 Death Becomes Her, correct?
I haven't.
Other than some general like pop culture references to visual gags from that movie.
I wasn't even aware there were pop culture references to this movie. When I watched Shaun of the Dead and the zombie had that hole right through the middle, I was just like, cool. I didn't realize it was a shout out to this lovely piece.
Holy Goldie Hawn, Batman. I mean, to spoil one of my favorite jokes in it, it is honestly that when she stands up with a hole in her chest in a remarkable physical effects gag. You got that?
So
here?
we're looking at it here. So they think she's dead and she's getting up unbeknownst to them.
No, look at that.
It's so good.
And turns, and then they look through it.
It's so good.
And can I tell you what's so great about this? It's sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it's just timed just right. Like you can say I want a visual effect, but this is part of the story and it's done so well. They're focused on their thing. They don't even look until the moment she turns, and then they look through with the water dripping on it. It's just such a good moment. And
what's great about it is it's the second time in this movie that the second gag where a character that is supposed to be dead is getting up. And it's actually, I love that, I'm literally realizing this now, it's a reversal of the first time in terms of perspective. So the first time, I've sped the shot up just because it's a long shot, and so we can kind of, study it and loop it as we need. But Bruce Willis is calling Goldie Hawn. They play themselves in the film. That's their names. And
yes.
dead Meryl Streep is getting up and stumbling over with her head twisted around because her neck's been broken from falling down the stairs. And it's this long shot where we're watching Bruce Willis give this performance and he stays in focus. Meryl Streep is out of focus in the background as she's just slowly like coming to and getting up and stumbling over. It's such a freaking great shot.
It's so, I mean, I remember the movie close-up of when she's talking to him, but I thought, surely out of focus, that's a stunt person with me head and cut like last second to him turning around where they have to the whole stitch her head back on.
Yeah.
But it's the whole shot. Let go. Her hair all down, scooping up and everything.
So
anyway.
And it's her, and she... Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This movie is about Bruce Willis, and he sees dead people. They are.
Yes. This is what the classic film is referencing. This is what Sixth Sense is actually. That's a callback to this film. The whole movie is a direct sequel to Death Becomes Her.
Oh, sorry for the sense.
Ooh.
Well, it?
Also, the production design and the fact that the clothes don't change is what my wife leaned over and she was like, he's wearing the same thing that he was wearing the thing. There's something up.
Oh, Mandy. Although there's something up. Okay, there's something up. That's good. That's a good thing to say. I accidentally lately have been like shouting out like, oh, they're going to do this. Whenever I see something that might happen in a film or I sense that they're going somewhere story-wise. And my son, understandably, gets really upset with me because he's like, you're spoiling it. I'm like, well, I don't know for sure if that's what's happening. The problem is I'm like 90% of the time I end up being right. And not I'm not bragging.
There's
It's just
reasons you shouldn't talk during a movie, Seth.
listen.
And that's one of them.
The thing is, I'm really interesting. Most people aren't, and so,
It's like having a live commentary track of
Yeah.
someone at least 70% as interesting as the people who made the film.
but from
So-
somebody who didn't have anything to do with the movie, just some rando, just telling you things about it and telling you what's going to happen. It does remind me of the Arnold Schwarzenegger commentary for Total Recall. Have you guys ever seen that?
Oh no, this sounds welcome
There's-
Not
to
remember any of it?
commentary
It's a hilarious
talk.
Reversal of the title.
Huh?
Could he not remember any of it in a hilarious reversal
Oh.
of the title?
Damn it, Michael. That's really good. No, it's not what happened. There's actually a good highlight reel of it online. It's basically the whole commentary is Schwarzenegger just in pure Schwarzenegger voice, because that's his voice, telling you what's happening on screen. He's not giving any no anecdotes. No behind the scenes like commentary. It's just, and here's the part where I touch her shoulder. And it's so freaking good.
Oh, that sounds phenomenal. I love
Speaking of
great
things that are
commentary
so good,
tracks are
the
such
visual effects in this
great.
movie, and let's recreate them.
What?
Sure.
That's
Why
not what we're-
not? Well, Hashi, we've already
Yes.
decided this, but tell me, what shot are you taking? What effect are you taking?
I really like the shot that we were just talking about, where Meryl Streep has her head on backwards, demonstrating an amazing effect right here. In Spaceballs, you funny, but
Very funny.
Bobby does an amazing. Yeah, you can see on screen. Absurd.
And I believe it's
amazing.
Yeah, she's wearing a blue cap, which this behind the scenes over here has a very funny clip in a second where she's just sitting there. It's like Meryl Streep, the biggest movie star on the planet, is like sitting there sitting there in a director's chair wearing a whole blue ski mask covering her very expensive face, and
I believe her mom.
oh yeah. This is what you're doing
Meryl.
with your life.
This movie.
Um
But yeah, absolutely. So the reason why this effect was so mind blowing is that obviously it is backwards. They do the elbows bend the wrong way, all that lovely stuff. And for 92, I mean, I was 10 years old. Seth wasn't born yet, and yeah, this equipment is remarkable. Believe
I was
Ken Ralston and ILM, and
Yeah.
I need to
So Ken
Um,
Ralston,
get on my feet.
VFX supervisor, and ILM, they won the Oscar for this that year. So you can see for the over the shoulders and over the shoulder through at Brucey that it's an animatronic of her giving the back of her head, which was built by Amalgamated Dynamics, I believe is the company. What's that?
You just read that, yes, or was that a rope you have in your back pocket? Just the name of
100%. I just have a list of them. Let's go through them right now. I definitely just read that. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. I love that I'm not Captain Disillusion. You don't question it when he just rattles off names of companies and people and scientists.
No, does everyone notice how we're insecure about our reputation of the historicity
Visual
all of these
effects.
effects?
Well, I do know. What I do know what's interesting about this is that it was 1992. Zemeckis had made a string of Romancing the Stone, Back to the Future, a string of hits, I should say. Romancing the Stone, Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future Part 2, Back to the Future Part 3. And he decides his next film after that string of just monumental monsters that he wants to make this spec script written by David Koepp, who...
Co-wrote this one, too.
Right? Yeah, well, this is the one. He decided he wanted to make this spec script by David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park. I'm hearing...
And you can lie. That's him, right?
Yes, David Koepp. He plays his character is called Unlucky Bastard. In the Lost
That's
World.
exactly the level of fame that I hope to obtain in my life.
It's Unlucky Bastard.
Being credited as being destroyed by the monster I created. Anyway, Seth, I'm really interested in figuring out a fun way to represent a backwards head, but the one-day version. So,
One-day version. So why don't we go over... I want to see if our lag has fixed up. Apparently, they were unable to hear anything you were saying.
I'm on that gas station Wi-Fi.
I do love that gas station Wi-Fi.
I had all my facts correct.
Two screen is hearable. So what happens if we go to our After Effects screens? How do we all sound now?
Hey everybody, this is Hashi talking and scrubbing through some footage. So last night, I am right now on the road, and so I am actually staying in my childhood home, which is lovely because it was modeled after the set of Death Becomes Her, and features this lovely staircase. That I would film with a couple of improvised production light situations in here to film first this part A, which is me falling downstairs. Very exciting. And then right after that, let's see, it probably wasn't that. It was, here's my body performance. Little hidden cut after I fall down the stairs. And then I filmed myself just kind of
Texas
standing
switch.
up.
Oh, is it a Texas switch if it's still you?
Texas.
I think it is.
It's a cut. So, yeah.
Yeah,
so it goes from injured you.
Todd to weigh in.
Technically, for insurance purposes, and I would have suggested you filming your performance first and then you falling down the stairs. In case you were horribly injured, we would have had it.
It is actually what I did. I just presented them in chronological order. Oh. Though, as I was doing my fall down the stairs, I don't remember if it's here.
I want to see like your dad walk through the frame with a cup of coffee, confused by you.
Which is exactly what I was cutting to.
I walked up the stairs, I'm sorry.
Ready to.
See, I told you guys, I spoil everything.
So, I have to run when you film with a crew of one, it is. So I climb up the stairs and I'm positioning myself to roll down my own stairs. And then over here in the corner is my lovely father making rounds through the house. And I think he asks me halfway through if I need any additional lights or anyone to operate the camera, which is so sweet. Call back to Captain Disillusion.
What year is it now?
I know. So wait, what year is it now?
Oh, just saying because you're like you're filming something yourself rolling down the stairs and your dad is like, "Hey, need some help, son?"
And I'll have you all know that at my age this was a remarkable amount of physical physical things. Let's see, Seth, you're too good at storytelling. You ruin every story.
I ruined that your dad was coming through. I'm just going to not make observations anymore. I'm sorry that I'm so damn talented. Speaking of that, let me show you what I'm going to do today while Hashi's rolling downstairs. So I love this moment from the film where Goldie Hawn, she sits down with her stomach hole and the shovel stick that's been thrown into the couch is still there, and it's framed so well we've forgotten about it because you can kind of see it, but she's distracting and blocking it. And she sits down and a stick goes right through it and sits there. And you pointed out, I didn't even notice this, that I noticed how close it is to the top of the hole, but that it actually pushes her shirt up as she sits down. It's so good.
Just a little bit of squish. It's so wonderful.
So I'm not going to get that detail, but I did shoot a plate. So yesterday I decided I wanted to do the stomach hole, and I actually did a render of it a version of it, or a test of it that I think we sent out as our promo. Why don't I find it real quick and show everybody?
A very lovely effect. I was very excited. And we should say, by the way, that when meeting about what should we cover on the show this week, we had the lovely suggestion from...
Oh, yes.
What should I call her? I want to call her our producer or something, but...
She's a producer of ours, 100%.
Yes. Yeah. The indispensable Kay suggested, it doesn't have to be this week, but I think it would be awesome if you guys covered this movie.
Covered Death Becomes Her. And so... She goes, you know what movie I love? Because you were like, why don't we just do some more spooky stuff? It's Halloween. She's like, you know what movie I love is Death Becomes Her. And we were like, you know what movie we're doing this week is Death Becomes Her. 100%. So here's my hole. And the idea here was to see if I can make it somewhat work, and it kind of worked. The tracking is really weird.
I do like the goop you've got, like, kind of hanging down.
The goop is great. Is that Film Riot goop?
No, that's actually Action VFX goop, I think. Action VFX also makes some good goop. I love me some goop. This is what this is this Action VFX blunt force wound with a hole, and then I brought the meat tube back from the Carnage, our first Carnage episode.
Welcome back, meat tube. Have we shared that with our socials people so they can slap it onto every model they make as a nod to their favorite Friday live streaming VFX and talk show?
We need to make some
meat tubes.
Yeah, we need to make some meat tube Instagram stickers, Jiffy stickers, so that the people can slap those meat tubes anywhere they want.
What kind
Seth,
of camera?
Nick is asking what camera and color profile you're using in these shots.
Who?
Well, Nick is asking.
Oh, but who's he asking?
Nick didn't specify. He just said.
Well, Nick, there's two of us. So you can say
I am
Hashi
using
or the second guy.
My iPhone and
my iPhone and my iPhone.
My iPhone, Filmic Pro, and I think I did a custom color temperature in here, and
which you needed to do because you've got the warm light from the house and the colder blue light from the outside.
I wanted to approach spooky, so we could maybe in post. I don't know. Do you know anyone who makes amazing color grading?
If only we knew a place that did amazing color grading software.
I see your sitting down performance there.
Yes, I've been practicing for years of my life. I've got this cutout circle from the crappy old green screen I had and put it on my stomach. It's still there. Mm-hmm. And I sat down on my couch. And so I went ahead and did the track on my shot, by the way, because it's pretty backwards the way that I did this. Because the meat tube that's going to be inside... Okay, never mind. I'm going to rephrase that. The cylinder that's going to appear to be on the inside of my stomach is I'm using CC cylinder, so I don't need, but I'd like a 3D track of some kind, so I don't have to manually keyframe it. This is one of those situations where I didn't want to do a lot of work, so I did a lot of work to get out of it. So a lot of times what I would normally do is I would just draw a mask around the surface that I want to track. if I have a shot where I want to actually 3D track a surface or an object in a frame, I know that Cinema 4D is really good at doing this, and I actually could have just gone and done that had I.
There's a camera tracker and an object tracker in Cinema 4D. That's true.
And it's actually really, really great. And I just it's one of those things where it's my New Year's resolution next year to like really get into that, because I feel like I'm going to be more powerful than anyone can imagine once I master that. But
Seth and I are plugged into. Once we joined the Maxon team, we suddenly had this just embarrassment of talent surrounding us that
not in us, around us, by all of these trainers, the amazing training team at Maxon, who are now our family, who are amazing and talented and showing us all these things that we could be doing to make our lives easier in Cinema 4D. So we're going to be getting into that soon.
The Maxon training team should get a YouTube channel. That would be if I were the Maxon training team.
Get on that. Give them a training channel now.
I think so.
I'm not reading it out loud, but I'm displaying on screen my the about of my computer. If you want to know what I'm.
The people were asking. Yes.
Yes. And does it have my?
Here's my pile of garbage. If anyone wants to know.
Don't I have? Does it not show my? I thought this showed the.
Seth, you upgraded to Monterey. You risky little.
Yeah, I don't give a damn.
Ooh. All right, where's my...
What version of AE are you using?
The brand new one. What?
Are you using 2022 on Monterey?
On Monterey.
Things that just dropped. Seth is on the bleeding edge, and the blood on the bleeding edge is from his blood.
Amazing.
I brought the blood.
And speaking of, the object tracker in Cinema 4D.
Yeah, are you using it?
I realized I should have used it. So what's lovely? So let's see. I need to be. What can I do to be in the motion tracker so you can see?
We need to remember to go back to Seth explain the track, because I.
Yes.
Actually,
all right.
Can I explain it real quick so I can continue working on the shot? Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Let's see.
I'll say real quick. So usually I will mask out the surface that I want to track, and I will pre-comp it and then camera track that pre-comped masked thing, and it will trick the camera tracker into thinking that thing is stationary and there's a camera movement, and so it will create a camera that will... Basically, I'll be able to attach something to it, and it works really well as a makeshift like object tracking system. It didn't work this time because there wasn't enough like data and points to latch onto on this green circle. But so camera tracker didn't do so hot, but what did it really nicely was Kingpin. Kingpin actually had no problem tracking that dot. Let me see if I can.
Let's see. If you're unfamiliar with Kingpin, it is part of the VFX suite in, and it does exactly what you can see on screen right now. That speaks better than I do.
What's good job.
It's a planar tracker where you establish a little plane that you want tracked, and the thing about it is insanely fast, and that is why I like it. It is
so fast that
faster
After Effects can't keep up with the render in the main thing, and so they had to create a preview window down here to actually show it tracking.
It's lovely. It is, it's faster than the native tracker. It's faster than stepping outside to Mocha, and it gives you a lot of really cool considerations. Oh, it looks like you might be able to demonstrate, Seth.
Well, so I put this, what I did was I took that track, that Kingpin track, and I'm going to use that for the surface stuff. So I'm going to use that for like the hole, the front of the hole itself, and the bloody, like the rim of it. But I'm going to, but for that CC cylinder part, the part that is actually going to need to kind of move in 3D, this is so backwards, guys. I took that Kingpin track and I applied it to, I made this comp that just says tracker in really jagged cornered fonts in various colors.
Yeah, if you are being a noob and just using like a checkerboard as your, uh, as your stand-in object,
Yeah,
you
design a whole brand identity. Get with it.
Here's the thing: the checkerboard wasn't working. This is the thing that worked. This is like my eighth try of trying to get this thing to work. And the checkerboard, for some reason, it was like too much similarity and such. And so I tracked this on, and then guys, I pre-comped it and I camera tracked this. This is what I camera tracked, and it worked. It actually yeah.
So you kingpinned an object on there, a really bright and colorful trackable thing, and then look at that.
It's not perfect. I need to massage it, but it's a good starting point for something that's going to be, obscured by a hole for a large part of it. But it's good enough for me. Again, I didn't want to do a lot of work, so I did a lot of work to avoid it.
That is lovely.
All right.
I like it. So this is
what
all
you
for
should
the
have
sake
done.
of at least placing the beginning, your bloody hole
Yes.
entryway, right?
Bloody hole entryway.
So to try to be comprehensive again, what I did for my effect is I filmed my body doing a performance where I eventually want my head to be backwards. And I'm very brazen about just filming things these days because Rotobrush 2 is really, really good. And I was somewhat confident that I would be able to motion track my object. So I filmed a performance of me doing this, and I kind of remembered what that was. And then I brought in a green screen. And then once I had that, I kind of tried to remember what I had done and perform the same thing kind of backwards. And you can see that one of the things that I'm doing is I'm trying to hold my shoulders really rigidly so that they are not deforming a lot, hoping that will assist some kind of tracking or something like that. So it looks very weird. Oh yeah, that's just me putting the green screen in place. That's how you do that, everyone. But this broke down into a bunch of different stages. So with the first stage was just sort of figuring out how to erase my head from this. And so what I actually did was I opened up the footage and did a track on. Let me see if I can pull up my tracker here. So I actually tracked the two corners of my collar. This is a little bit similar to for creating the dad legs from Onward. So basically just finding two corners of something that were pretty high contrast, and then I tracked them all the way through. So basically I would have some kind of a stand-in object that was roughly where my neck was supposed to be. So that resulted in this null. I'll show you what that looked like. It was just attached right here. And as I move around, it kind of moved with me. But because I was doing a 2-point track, it's basically keeping the null centered right here on this point and just oriented toward this other point. This allowed me to then add another null that I called the 2D centered neck, which I could place in the center and then parent it to the tracked piece. And so now I have a little dot that's right in the middle of my neck kind of throughout. If I hide that other null and I play through, you can see that now I have a null that's right in the middle of the neck. But part of the tracking data that I got is scale. And that scale is really essential to helping this null object stay in the right place. But it's very annoying because it means that as a parented layer, it's got weird local coordinates based on its parent over here. It's got attachment issues with its parent is what I like to call that. And so I did a third null that I called the 2D null untethered. I don't know why I called it 2D because it's obviously 3D now that I've clicked on it. But what I did for this was I created a 3D null and then told it to copy the comp position of this centered null object. So let me try to say that again in shorter terms. I tracked this neck across like that, and then I made a child null that would always stay in the center of the neck. And then I used the famous toComp expression to have an additional null that would place itself in the comp at these dimensions, regardless of it being parented or anything like that. And then also linked the Z orientation to the orientation or to the rotation of the original neck. So what I end up with is this 3D null that is basically the center of my my neck the whole time. And that's what I used to complete my track.
That is
exciting.
Is usually genius and also hilarious knowing that we both remembered the Cinema 4D object tracker here on the show.
Yes, it is lovely. Though I remembered it last night and done it. So what's lovely about the object tracker, and actually what's lovely about having this tracked neck throughout, is that I could do all sorts of things, like have just a black solid stand-in that I parent to that thing, and then even without any keyframes, as you scroll through, it's basically going to be erasing my head for the most part, and I can just use this as a subtract mask to reveal a blank piece of footage behind, and that does a lot of the work, which is pretty great. Again, very similar to the Onward tutorial that I did, and then my next step was
sorry, if you haven't seen Hashi's Onward tutorial, please make sure you go watch it because it's really, really great.
It is, and endorsed by Dan Scanlon, the writer-director of that film.
Dan Scanlon, who once unfollowed me on Twitter when I DM'd him. I said it publicly, and I shouldn't have. Let's pretend I never said it.
Was Dan the one that was at the Henson exhibit that we went to together, Seth?
Now we're getting stalked. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, he had followed me right around Monsters University. Big fan of his. Man, I really shouldn't be saying this publicly, but I just went for it. And I reached out and said, hey, I'm a big fan. And he said, oh, I think I accidentally, basically like I didn't mean to follow you or something. He said it very politely in a way where I was like, oh, I get it. And then years later it was like, wait, why you didn't have to do that or say anything? And then we saw him at the Muppet exhibit that we went to, Your Family and My Family. And I was weirdly afraid that he would be freaked out because the dude who just stalked him on Twitter was now at another same place as him. Anyway, Dan, if you're out there, I'm a big fan. I understand why you did what you did, and I don't hold it against you. The end.
Amazing. Onward was the last movie that I saw in a theater as well, which is both.
It's a sweet movie.
It's
Such a sweet movie.
So sad, but that's you kind of get the general idea of me erasing my head through this.
That's great enough. Like you could literally ship that and it would be funny.
Mm-hmm. And like I said,
headless horseman tutorial right there.
Absolutely. Hey, that is see, Nick, we need you on the team.
Hey, see?
Recognizing when we've created work that we're just discarding on a live stream. So
which broom should I use, Hosh? Pick a broom for me. This one
broom
or this one? I know it's a shovel, but these are the best sticks I could find.
This one, that one.
All right.
That's a much more Halloween-y broom.
It is a very Halloween-y broom.
Halloween-y broom.
And the next step that I had was trying to erase the actual neck, as it were. And the way I did that was just with RotoBrush. And it was very straightforward because I just I split the clip into two because sometimes RotoBrush is phenomenal, but it also, I've noticed that in long stretches, especially a 22-second shot, for example, at some point it's trying to do too many calculations, and it compounds on itself. I believe that our friends at Cinecom described this as well. But yeah, very simple. You jump into the layer, you find the see, it says that we're centered in some weird spot over there. So yeah, you can see my how can I preview that? Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Here we go. So I just really quickly grabbed that neck, and I think I needed very few correction keyframes on that, if any. Yeah, I didn't use any keyframes on it. I just drew a little smudge on the neck, and then I just think I clicked freeze, and freeze. Let it track that through, which gave me a beautiful, completely erased neck. How's it going over there, Seth?
It's good. Just this tiny mask. Like when you draw something that has like a tiny mask on it, it's hard to grab it and move it around the comp without just grabbing the mask and.
Mm-hmm. Well, go lock your mask if it's done.
That's exactly. I was like, I've never locked a mask before. Wait, yeah, you can. I'm
Lock
an idiot.
that mask.
So
there we go.
Get suggestive very fast. Let's figure out. That's too long.
It looks normal size to me, Seth.
I feel like you're going to have to scroll back to where your sitting action
Michael,
began.
I'm going to put your face on screen after saying that. People need to know. You need to live with that.
I'm okay
Lovely.
with it.
Sorry, Hash, what would you say?
No, I guess you can art direct the final position, and then it looks like it's going to have to do some wobbling in the couch. So where's your anchor point on that broom right now?
I'm about to decide. It's nowhere right now. I'm trying to find like a good length, and then I'm gonna, because I don't want to change the scale because I like the width of it right now, I think. So I created an intersect mask that will allow me to change the length of it. So let's see. Oh, it's definitely got to be at a different angle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the final resting angle would be all right. Go to the first frame where you think you would be interacting with it.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's got to start up here. Okay. Yep. Nope.
And so in the meantime, I would love to share with you all a fun process that I did. In the original Death Becomes Her, they did what I would recommend if you had to really try to recreate this effect, which was Seth, I don't mean to interrupt what you're doing, but
no, do it.
Can you pull up Meryl again with her prosthetic twisted neck?
Do you want Meryl reveal or Meryl in the den?
In the den. And then tried to film this stuff with my parents wondering what I was still doing, but bless them. So I jumped back in here to Cinema 4D, and let me just start a new project, for example. And one of the fun things that has been shared with me is that Cinema has an asset browser. Our amazing trainer Darren Frankowitz has been trying to walk me through all the things that Cinema has to offer, and so I decided to just jump into here and type in I think head or something like that. And when I did, you'll find several objects. It looks like maybe I just typed male. I can't remember. All right. So one of the objects is, or maybe I typed in human. This is a great demonstration of what I remembered. But yeah, Cinema has a library of assets that you can find and download and add to your project. Here it is. It is the advanced. Let's see, what is it called here? Look at this. It looks a little bit like Keanu Reeves when he emerges from the Matrix. Like if it were missing its eyebrows, maybe.
We can see the head a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. I'll adjust over. There we are. That's very skinny for that.
The asset browser away.
Yeah. So there's this lovely, actually rigged head, which is like, look at this. You can grab the control points, and look, he's this amazing head with a like. Look at it's even got the proper eye bulge rotation when I don't remember eye parts. The cornea.
It's the eye bulge. Eye bulge. That's what it's called.
The eye bulge part. Anyway, yeah, lots of wonderfully accessible controls here, which I proceeded to try to break right away because my goal was to take this neck and start just destroying it. Because I loved how realistic this neck looks, but I wanted it to be broken, just like Meryl's. And so look at that. Very quickly just grabbing these two nulls, I get this great twisted neck flesh bit. And one thing I was pointing out to Seth the other day was that the eyeballs are still trying to look over here at the control source if you break the neck like that. So I don't remember how the conversation went, but I think it said, hey, when you twist the neck all the way around to the opposite direction, the eyeballs are still trying to look forward, so they become all bloody, which like, of course, like that's my...
I've always said that.
Always said that.
My father used to say that every night before bed. Just remind your son.
So once you have made this lovely Jeff Bezos-inspired sculpture, what I actually did was I grabbed just the neck segment itself from that by just basically isolating the geometry from there because I just wanted it to be one single object. And as I worked with the object, I learned a lot of weird things about what shape it needed to be so I could marry it with my footage all right. And I could jump to showing what that looks like, but I'd be happy to find out how things are going over there as well.
The timing of this stick is weird. It's like you put it the wrong angle. It looks like it's about to go to another
like
hole.
Into your... Like, yikes.
And if you put it even further, it's just not anywhere you want to frame a stick in any kind of family-friendly film. And so,
which, by the way, Death Becomes Her, not a family-friendly film. If you decided, if you're like, hey, my kids love, I was going to say Roger Rabbit, which is also
still not.
Kids still not. Yeah. Anyway, the obvious next thing that I needed to figure out how to do was to bring this neck into my comp. And so using the best of my abilities, I brought in this tube, and I have a controller null for it right here. So it's a little 3D object now, but it is behind everything. It's all the way down here behind all those holes that I'd punched in my footage, which was kind of nice because then it meant I knew that it would be contained within the general area in case it kind of slid off to the side or whatever. It actually gets, let's see, where's my null for it? So if I go off to the side, it gets a little bit hidden, by the shirt or whatever, which would give me a little bit of leeway. But by parenting this to what I ended up calling my untethered null, I actually got a pretty great positional track for this neck. And it's obviously just staying still, and its scale is all wrong. And so my next step, and I just kept these saved in different projects so they were easier to communicate later. I went through, and on the neck itself, I tried improving the lighting a bit. And my lighting process was not complicated. It was basically I added a spotlight over on the left, and I sampled the color that my neck was in the original footage and used that as the light.
Oh,
Instead of
that's
trying to
smart.
approximate the actual light color, I'm literally using it to try to project the color on here.
That's actually really
Same-
smart. I don't know why I've never thought of that.
And when you're colorblind, you just go if you can eyedropper fix it, you do. So I have a spotlight over here that kind of is that rim light kind of effect, and then I have this fill kind of thing, and that looked enough like it that I kind of like the way that it came together. So this is you can see that I've added a bunch of keyframes to my to the 3D neck to get it to do what it needs to do. All of the Y rotation needed to be manual, but in the performance, as I'd mentioned earlier, I tried to be very deliberate with what those rotations felt like and not make them too wild for me to deal with later. So this practically kept this, like, look how gross that is. It's so yucky. But that gave me this wonderful headless look. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could certainly have something like a torn off neck, like bloody neck stump if you wanted to do
Shout out
a,
to our friends at actionvfx.com. They have several bloody stump
bloody
assets that are
stumps.
great.
So I keep on all of these little keyframes keep on looking like a little like neck tattoo, just slightly behind my null controller, and they do to me anyway. But yes, this was the next step, and then my last step got a little bit complicated as well. Seth, you're tracking something right now.
I'm rotoing. I'm just trying to clear up the mat with the broom so I can get to the meat tube. Really looking forward to making that meat
as
tube.
you do. So I had done what I thought was a reasonable thing. Let me see if I can. When I filmed these two elements, the head and the body, I brought in. First of all, I used Primat here just to key out the green screen that I had shoved in here before I did my head performance. And then I opened up time remapping on the head element. And using the time remapping, I basically tried to kind of go through and look at which way I was turning in the performance. And I kept this really simple. I stand up, I look right, I look left, and then I slowly turn around to this direction. And then I decided to do this slight lean toward camera thing. So if you're trying to perform both parts of this and improvising it, like, I'm actually pretty proud of myself for the general
Yeah, look at that.
alignment of it. So pretty good. Obviously, it's time remapped, and that's why these rotations are nicely married. But I was actually proud of the angle of this matching up and the camera distance being pretty close.
Yeah, you should be.
So I thought, great, I'll just grab that head and throw it onto the neck. This should be no sweat. And then I realized a world of pain of let me see, I can maybe recreate said pain. I started out by throwing the nicely timed component in here. Let me see if this is timed correctly. Yeah, there we go. And I thought, here's what I'll do. I'll just, I'll mask off the head here. I'll do like a feathered mask. And then when I stick it there, it'll kind of blend, and I'll just, scale it to work with this tube, which you can start to see some of my problems coming into view right now. Like the neck to reveal all of that, the curl is becoming elongated, which is another great gag in Death Becomes Her, but it wasn't what I was trying to create here. But my real physical neck, it spreads out too quickly, and putting my neck down kind of where it would actually be if it were just rotated in place didn't show off enough lovely twisty neck. And Meryl Streep's costume design works exceptionally well for that moment. She has this lovely kind of open V-backed dress thing. I know fashion terms that, and so you could see her spine, which they augment at the beginning, so you can see vertebra kind of peeking out and curling around into her neck shape. And I wanted the same thing, but also it started to look really weird when I made the neck so tall. And so then I thought, well, I'll just keyframe it in place with some like rotation position keyframes, and then I'll move it around since I kind of matched it well. But now it means that since I'm moving, my anchor point is in a weird spot, and you're doing all these things to fight where your head is ending up and trying to rotate it counter to that. And even if you try ending the anchor point, it got really weird. So I admitted like late last night to myself that I needed to stabilize the head. And so I did almost the exact same thing as I did with the as when I cut out the neck hole, which is let's see. Where are we? Stabilized head, and I want to see my motion trackers, dang it. All right. So I feel like I'm seeing the wrong piece of footage here with my motion trackers. But I did the same thing again. I motion tracked the two corners of my neck so I could end up with a piece of video where the head would stay. Let me see if I can turn off my keying effects on this. Oh no, why is that? Why does that look like that? Whatever. You guys know what a stabilized element looks like. So I ended up with what looked a lot more like me, like sitting in an office chair with the head and the neck connection point staying very still, which gave me a much better stabilized head prop to be able to place kind of in place like this. And the fortunate thing about my facial hair here is that it created a really straightforward line for me to use to kind of place the head there. And to try to do a little bit of this connection, I did an additional trick, which was I have the head itself, which has a pretty harsh roto-brushed edge here. Like that. You can all see that crazy jumpy line. But then I created a second copy of it without the roto brush effect. And it's using a very simple feathered mask like this to kind of paint some of my neck shape downward. And then I figured I only wanted the color of my neck to propagate into the 3D neck. And so what I did was a fun trick, which is I grabbed the set matte effect, and I used that to reference my 3D neck layer. That way I don't have to have multiple copies or whatever. I just have this independent piece of footage with a little feathered mask on it, and it has a track matte of this solid that is grabbing the matte from the 3D neck. And so what that does is if I turn that on, if I expand the mask here, it's you can see what it's doing is it's only painting in that color within the alpha of the 3D object, which means that if I add some feathering right here, I can get a bit of the, the bottom, This is my self haircut, so don't make fun of me. I haven't been to a movie theater since Onward
cutting your own hair?
I've been cutting my own hair.
Buddy, that's amazing because you have spectacular hair.
This one is my haircut. Mandy, my lovely wife, is exceptional at cutting my hair, but finding the right time to, like get together without the kids and be able to sit down and cover a random room at your house with hair.
She give me that you don't need the kids to be present for.
Michael, once you start having bits of hair fly around your kitchen and then add 2 running kids into the mix, it just
that's not the direction I was going with that conversation.
No, I'm bringing it right back to
once there's hair flying, you just can't stop the animal instincts from taking over.
It's a very intimate experience.
I was thinking that
someone cutting or washing your hair,
doing Hal's hair in the kitchen.
Oh, which one was that?
It was one of the cold opens, I think. Hal is getting his body hair tended to. It's just in the kitchen, and the kids are trying to eat their breakfast. And
oh my gosh, I do remember this.
Yeah,
phenomenal. So as you can see, I then spent a little bit of time, not too many keyframes, because again, a lot of the data is coming from that original fake null that's sort of right here. So if you parent everything to that null, the movements you have to do, you can see this elegant path. It's just a little bit that they need to be pulled off course. And I don't know if I've nailed this all the way through. I haven't done a great playback on it, but the gist is I've now been able to kind of go from in stages just masking out the bulk of my head, roto brushing out the rest of the head, then adding in a CG stand-in neck that is somewhat tracked and then more lit properly.
That's just unreal that you're getting that result.
It's fun. It's fun to do this all. Anyway, how's it going in the land of meat tubes?
Well, just to remind everybody, man, hashtag meat tube. I just reminded. Going to be doing this shot or not this shot, but I'm doing this effect. Actually, this shot, I'm sorry. Well, there's so many of her. This shot from Death Becomes Her, where she sits down and the shovel stick comes up through the wound in her stomach.
Look at that. And another fun thing to note is that Zemeckis doesn't ever let his camera hold still for these shots.
Never.
I can do mine because it is an absolute cheat of it's a static camera shot.
You know what's funny though, dude? I actually think that my shot would look better if it was moving because
you'd have a bit of forgiving parallax or something like that.
Yeah, well, what I've always told people, and whether it's right or wrong, is that like what I tell my VFX class all the time is that if you shoot a VFX shot, and if the scene that it's in, the camera is moving every shot, and then the VFX shot, you lock it off to be safe, you've made your work easier, but you've killed 50%. You've basically taken it 50% of the way to looking bad. Like you've taken away, whereas if you shoot it moving, you make the work harder for yourself, but you've already brought it 50% of the way toward being convincing. And so
that is phenomenal advice. I like that.
I just like, I think that if my shot that I got here was moving, you would have, it would, what's the right word I'm looking for? It would allow for feeling the effect more rather than observing it and seeing it. This is a really bad placement of the stick. Just not the right way to go. There's a reason that Zemeckis framed it the way he framed it, where you didn't see the stick until it came through, because this is what ends up happening.
That's what happens. So now, I do appreciate that you have managed to pull off moving camera shots on the show before, using your annoyingly talented son.
I have having him film me. Yeah, it's like the reverse of you. Like, oh hey, look, that worked.
I love that. We'll get to that at some point.
Oh,
but
I just accidentally found a stick placement that actually works.
Hey,
all right. So
there we go.
I'm going to work on this meat tube now, and I have this nasty meat diffuse layer that I created in the Carnage layer, got from Unsplash. It's just a picture of a steak, an uncooked steak that I cut out and repeated and did polar coordinates and such to create like a spherical texture. I'm going to drop CC cylinder on it, which makes this wonderful meat tube. Now, I want the anchor point to be the center of it, and I also don't need it to be that long. I don't need that long of a meat tube. So I'm going to turn off CC cylinder so you can see what I'm doing. With the rectangle tool selected here and my meat diffuse layer selected, I'm going to double click on it to automatically make a mask around the layer.
Everyone knows that, right? That it's a great way to add a mask without just
And now let's see. Let me turn on proportional grid. And I'm going to drag the bottom line of the mask up to the middle of the frame. So now, if I turn on CC cylinder, the cylinder is now, let me see if I rotate around to show you.
I see.
The size I want it to be. I'm going to set the render to, instead of being full, to be the inside. I just want to see the inside of this meat tube.
A lovely tip that is good to know.
Just the tip.
If you need a cheap like cyclorama, that you can do this.
Yes, absolutely. And so then I am going to see how this looks if I just, as it's set right now, turn on that 3D camera that I made. And all right. So it's not great. You know what I need to do? I need to use your thing. Your what do I need? I need to name the solid ground. Is that what I do? Walk me through how to use your script again.
All right. Wait. What did I do? You need to extract a 2D point from there.
No, the normalized track. What do I need?
The normalized track script. Yes, the normalized track built by Joe at workbench.tv. This is a free script that everyone should get.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry, you were saying the important information, and I was just saying uhs and yes.
Oh no, is it? What are we seeing there, Seth?
I'm looking at this is the question mark button you click, and it gives you the instructions on how to use it. The axis button,
yes.
Set selected layers. You must have a ground plane named ground or floor selected. Camera will automatically be selected. A null used to modify the effect will be added. Okay, so I just need to change this to be said ground because this is my ground plane.
You could also type wall, which was added.
Really?
I'm hoping you could potentially have an older one, but
I think
wall is nice in that it's facing forward. Okay. But yeah, if anyone uses After Effects in here, please click on that link that Red Giant just pasted in the chat to follow and find that this lovely script.
Whoa, that put meat diffuse there. Maybe the size of it.
Amazing.
Okay. So maybe if I.
So it did make your world a little bit big for that cylinder.
That's okay.
I'm going to guess that a lot of this is because your 3D track is very exaggerated. It's almost like it looked like a 6mm lens by the end or something like that was filming that plane. So what's happening now is that the world space is very small because the After Effects tracker assumed a very small world. But look at this. You've got a cool, actually 3D cylinder.
Yeah, so if
following along something that you kingpin tracked. That is so brilliant, and I love that.
Just make it shorter and the radius a bit smaller. And I guess I need to modify the position over the course of the comp, but I mean, that's pretty close right there.
But still, that's pretty wonderful.
So if I put this underneath the hole in the wound, And I need to roto myself too. Oh wait, no. Underneath my plate here.
Now, what color was your placeholder patch on your sweater there? I didn't.
Green. But
It is green. I can't.
it is green,
tell
but
with the
I did that
lighting.
only because in my test I had it I put my hand in front of it. I might just share, I mean, people can figure out what the heck I did by just watching it, but in my test I had green. I put my hands up in front, so that's why I had the green, which helped. And then I moved my hand behind, and I just took a still from where my hand was not behind it, and rotoed it and animated it to come up behind me, behind that layer in front of the clean plate, and it sold it pretty well.
Beautiful.
I don't have to worry about that in this shot because there's nothing really interacting too hard with it. So
I'm going to over here while you sort out some placement of that. Show everyone. I did a test render just before going to bed, which has sort of the full context of what I imagined this shot would be like, which is it would open with me falling down the stairs and then popping back up to the broken neck moment. So I wanted to show you all a fun thing that I did with falling down the stairs. Obviously, it is time remapped to have a little bit more of a violent speed. I don't know how well as playing back for everyone. It looks a little bit choppy, even on my end.
yeah, it's a little choppy.
But obviously, when you fast forward something or you time remap something that is supposed to have different physics going on, what I find can be very helpful to do is to let me bring in my original piece of footage for falling down the stairs. So the actual falling down the stairs bit took me 30 seconds or something like that to do. And at parts, I'm obviously pausing, trying to figure out how I'm going to move my body to the next thing. And then here at the end, I actually I think I really do just fall out of frame faster than I meant to. I'm okay, everyone. I know you're concerned. But if I retime this by just, squeezing down the whole thing and fast forwarding it, what I'll end up with is a more like an old-timey movie thing where sure, it's faster, but there are, weird little pauses and stuff that don't quite work out. So I like to use a tried and true method, which is either motion sketch or literally putting in, let's see, for example, I'll just create a new, I'll do a new shape layer. Look at this. I'm going to use a shape layer, Seth.
I know, I'm doing it in mine too. We're living like normal people.
All right. So you could take something like shape layer. It doesn't really matter. It's just a stand-in kind of thing. I'm going to make it a 3D object because there'll be some perspective involved here. And then watch this. Let's see. Lock that down. So if this were a 3D object, and I imagine that it lands at the bottom of the stairs like this, I could set just some really quick stand-in keyframes to say, like, maybe me rolling down the stairs should take about 4 seconds. So I'll put this little stand-in down at the bottom of the stairs there, then I'll switch back to the beginning. I'll push this back in Z space so it has some proper, slowed timing when it's up high, and then I'll just put it way up here off the top of the screen, and then adjust these vectors to kind of do basically a very steadily paced thing coming down the stairs. And so when I look at just this object, that feels very slow actually for rolling down the stairs, but I can just quickly stretch that second keyframe and say boom, 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 boom. Like that feels a little bit more realistic. And there is a bit of a pause when I hit this platform, so maybe I'll add one more little keyframe here so I can arrive there, and I'll press F9 to make it an ease keyframe, so it'll sort of roll and bounce there for a second and then lob down the rest of the stairs. So what this stand-in object is helping me do It's just visualizing what something rolling down the stairs' actual speed should be. So when I go to my actual performance layer, I love calling us the talent and our takes the performances a lot. So yeah, I'll clip past my dad there. And then, yeah, I'll find once I'm actually rolling onto screen. And now I can use that little red dot as a way to kind of say, okay, I should be there around here. And now as I scroll forward, I'm going to put little keyframes to the time remapping. You can see I'm just grabbing the time there and just sliding it up. So now the center of gravity is around where that dot is. So I'm now falling at a more constant speed. There's a slight delay on the stairs here, and I think it might be too dramatic a pause if I use a full stop keyframe. So I'm going to adjust this curve. It's probably very small for everybody. We've got small curves and big tubes on this exciting episode. Here we are. So now, based on this timing, I'm just going to go to my time remapping and add little keyframes that keep my center of mass about where this piece is. And then I'll know that at the end, when I fast forward through it all, I'm sort of keeping my speed to be a more reasonable down the stairs bit. That makes sense to everyone?
Yes.
Chat is awfully quiet. If you have exciting questions for Seth and me about when we go to Muppets exhibits together,
See Pixar
drop
directors and stock Pixar directors.
Drop them in the chat. So I also added, I didn't like, knowing that this was a really straightforward fall down the stairs. And so I wanted to add one more gag or something to this. And so what I did was a fun effect called time warp. And if you have not played with not time warp, but time displacement effect. Now, the time displacement, you've probably seen it in some cool slit scan kind of animation-looking things. Let me.
Oh yeah, time displacement is a fun one to get wacky with, especially if you put it on pre-comps of just pure MoGraph stuff. You can get some really neat effects with it.
I hadn't thought about it for MoGraph, but that's a phenomenal idea. So I'm going to grab this piece of footage where I'm just to show off what time remapping. I can't do it. Time displacement does. I'm going to just crop this one little area where I'm rotating around a bit. And let's just trim the comp to the work area. And the way time displacement works is it uses an input source. So I'm going to create a solid that can be my input source here. And I'll add a gradient ramp to it, just like this. And I don't know if it really matters. I'll try swapping. It doesn't matter. It depends on what you're doing. So that's a little grad. I'll just call it a grad there. Congrats,
grad.
Grad, longest running joke on the show.
Stupidest running joke on the show, too.
So stupid. So now that we have this hidden grad layer here, we can go to my footage layer, and obviously the regular footage is me turning around like this and looking at the camera. But if I add the time displacement right here, the first thing, like if you just added this and you didn't know what it did, you'd be like, oh, it's kind of weird. It's a bit of a like data moshy thing, but I don't like it.
Yeah, if you're exploring effects for Glitchtober, this would be great for you. 3 days left.
Look at that. We just saved you some Glitchtober work, everyone. But as soon as I go over to assign a time displacement layer, I'll select the grad. Nothing will happen, and that's because I also need to select effects and masks. And now that I've done that, it may not be super obvious, but what's happening is based on that ramp. So I can kind of overlay it so you can kind of imagine what's happening here. is everywhere that is bright is moving forward in time faster than anything that is black. So as I play through this, what it looks like is my torso spins, and then I so what's cool is that it's, I mean, it looks a little bit just like a standard displacement right now, but let me turn up the amount of time that that the gradient basically resamples everything to. So,
Oh yeah, and push the top of the gradient down so it's more on top of your head.
Yeah. So if I turn this up to be a full 3 seconds range, then I can take this gradient ramp and maybe hard to see, but these are the two controllers for it. I can put the gradient, closer to the top of my head there, and if I want to, I could bring the bottom part of the gradient to about here. And now you can see I'm only affecting the time displacement.
Yeah.
So this is lovely. And the time displacement effect has you can turn its resolution down. And this is something you've maybe seen people do. Like if you go walk into your office or something like that, it's a really cool effect where you're split into a bunch of layers. But as you turn up the time resolution, it samples more and more frames. And on top of that, if you tell your layer to have optical flow frame blending on, it does become computationally intense. But what it does is, if the number of slits is basically higher than you're visually seeing on screen, if you enable time blending like this, it will sample frames in between your frames to give you this very smooth looking distortion in the end. I'm going to get off now because I don't think you're benefiting at all from it on the YouTubes. But let's see, I'll spread out the gradient to be a little bit lower too, so it's just the whole body is doing this thing. Now, 3 seconds is a little bit long, so maybe I'll make it like 2 seconds worth. But obviously what's cool about this is it's a very low amount of work to do to get to do this effect where you're basically twisting parts of your, if it's a rotational object, you're twisting parts of it earlier than others. So what I used that for is I made a very specifically customized gradient ramp, and let's try to find where I put it. Just like this. I'll overlay it here for a moment, and I'm going to hide my time displacement effect. But I just added some keyframes, and they look like they're zooming all around, but that's because what I'm trying to do is say, I want this part of the footage to advance faster than this part of the footage. And so when my time displacement effect is on, and I keyframe its amount right here, what you'll get is I might turn off my frame blending because again, you don't need it for the YouTube. As I turn up this value, it allows me to basically like rotate the entirety of my legs, which happened a little bit later in the footage, but it preserves that my head was sort of awkwardly sandwiched here on the stairs. And so I was hoping that in fast forward, what it would look like is that I landed pretty flat, but then the weight of my legs basically ragdoll fell all the way almost to the bottom of the stairs before finally dragging the top half of my body into it. And then by this keyframe, I've just dialed down the time displacement back to 0. And the more I turn this up, the more it would bend the first half of my body first and the second half later. So I don't know what you might find a fun use for this for in your own work, but I really loved that it does such a simple way to manipulate footage without having to like cut out pieces. I don't need to roto him out or anything like that, but I get a really cool thing that looks like the bottom half of my body is broken here. So yeah, that's that.
Awesome.
Everyone love it. I hope
everyone
you love it.
loves it.
Amazing. Seth, speaking of people who everyone loves,
Aww.
what are you up to over there?
I'm shading my stick that goes through my hole. I'm really sorry for all of this. My son is off school today, so he might even be watching this, and he's just ashamed.
I have to be so careful with all of my CC ball action scripts.
Yes.
Just trying to describe everything that you do with them.
Yep. Well, right now I am using CC Light Sweep to create the illusion of some lighting on.
Yeah, CC Light Sweep.
So that it's shaded when it's inside the hole and brighter when it's outside. I also need to do some
shading.
Look
at that. That's great.
I also, the cylinder, I think I was about
That's
to say
some real slim shading. I'm so sorry. You signed up. You signed up for it, everyone.
But this reminds me, I wanted to do put light sweep on the tube, and set it to smooth. Turn sweep intensity to 0. Let me turn on sweep, and then turn the width up super big. And what I want is I'm doing this because I want there to be some backlight on the back of the tube, some like rim light on there. So that,
because obviously light would be shining through, and that's all glossy.
Well, it wouldn't be there, so I'm going to have to keyframe it. It wouldn't be once I sit on the couch. And I also need to add some shadow to the couch there. But at the beginning of the comp, when I'm standing up here, it's nice to have a little bit of, well, I guess we only see the top, so there's not, That's how we're looking right now. The hole, I'm happy with how the hole's looking at the beginning of the comp.
It's a lovely hole.
Thank you, sir. I need to add that goop. That goop really did help sell it, didn't it?
It just gives you a little thing to focus on for just a moment. So if you were trying to pay attention to the track,
it less clean too.
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it look less clean too. Like it's the messiness and gory. Like it just.
All right. Well, I accidentally imported. Again. Here's this goop layer that I got from Action VFX. I got 2 of them, and they're both pretty great and gross.
Oh, that's so gross.
So I'll drop that in and use the 3D camera to place those.
Yeah, if you've never been... Oh, I realize that every time I look over at you, Seth, I'm looking off screen over here.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all right. So I broke the illusion. I break the illusion that everyone believes that I'm...
Wait.
That I'm looking at what's
something?
Behind me.
I've been lying. This is not Action VFX's stuff. This is Footage Crate stuff.
Oh my gosh, a twist.
I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry.
None of
Action VFX does have great bloody stumps, but I totally forgot that I found what I was looking for from Production Crate on this blunt force bleeding wound. I apologize to Production Crate. You guys, this is from Production Crate, as is these bloody slime drips. My apologies, Production Crate. You're very good to us and provide great things.
They are lovely. And one of the things that I think is awesome about both of their philosophies is that the more stuff is out there, the better lightweight films people can make. And so they have... I like that they also like each other. So, but yes, for the sake of everybody knowing where we're getting our materials.
Yes, where we're sourcing our meat tubes and slimes. Okay, so
we've got to get some stuff like this into the cinema 4D asset database. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
We should partner with some of those people to do that. Let's figure that out.
I mean, we are updating the asset browser with stuff. I say we. The Maxon Cinema 4D folks.
You can claim we. You're the floating
head of Maxon. We're adding stuff to the asset browser every month. This month we added food stuff, some really high quality cherries and coffee beans and whatnot got added in there.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, every month there's some more stuff in there, which is one of the cool things about subscriptions. We're allowed to add value, but which if perpetual licenses, we are legally prevented from doing so.
So fun. The exciting world of
publicly traded companies.
Yay. I am remembering that I have not updated my After Effects, and after the amazing week of Adobe Max notifications that I feel like I got. I'm very curious to find out about swap over to the newer After Effects if I would have some faster multi-frame things going on. When I
Well,
preview this all for you.
I've had about 2 to 3 times faster on my system, depending on what's in the project.
yeah, as long as you're not on my computer.
Well, yeah, Seth has taken on the burden of practically always streaming for us. I have become the deadbeat member
I
of
meant
the
just
band.
my old 2013 trash can. The fact that it's an old bag of a computer.
If only Puget Systems would get in touch with you. They're the official sponsor of Action Movie Dads.
Yes, they are.
Box. So which I have loved tremendously for everything. I'm actually taking it on this insane road trip with me. Let me see if I can. Let's see, where did it go? I can maybe share this with you all. Yeah, here we go. This. So, when traveling, the last time I bought a laptop was, goodness, I don't know when ago. But it is not capable of handling anything that I work on. So usually what I would do is I would travel and remote into my machine at home. And so all my laptop needs to do is have a stable internet connection, and then I can connect to my office computer back home. That's how we did our Ghostbusters Sky Butthole episode. And but now that I'm on the road and don't have my system waiting for me somewhere, I needed to figure out a way to bring it along with me. And so I have affixed it to these very capable dolly wheels that are large enough that it rolls smoothly, and I can take it upstairs and things like that, which is generally not advisable for how you should treat your PC tower, but this is holding up. Yeah, the opinions expressed here are not meant to be taken as advice for what to do with your computer tower. But if you were me going on a road trip, this is how you would do it. And you like how my monitor is just slung over the handle and is leaning up against the thing. I actually did reinforce this with
so stable and so safe.
I actually reinforced this little cool snappy case for the monitor with a piece of wood that the frame of my monitor sits against, so it's not actually under distress right now.
I'm under distress right now looking at
protected. It. Yes, and then I got my microphone kind of sandwiched in there, and I have my camera bag slung over my shoulder that has my webcam and everything like that. Totally portable setup, which is where I'm coming to you from today. As someone noted, my gas station Wi-Fi or whatever the term was. But what are you doing over there, Seth?
Well, whatever it is, the crowd in the chat is talking about getting a GoFundMe started to get Seth a new machine.
Oh, thanks, guys. I was really hoping that look, I'm a nerd. I do more, like, I don't need to do the kind of like huge After Effects stuff that Hashi does all the time. So I'm happy sticking to a Mac, and I was hoping that those pretty iMacs would come with a larger one with a little bit more horsepower. And instead, they gave us the laptops. And having made an entirety of my last short film with CGI monsters on a laptop, I don't want to touch a laptop again for a very long time. And
understandable. Oh wow! While I was sitting here, the new After Effects cached all the frames of this thing.
Oh, thanks, After Effects.
That is I will say, that's one of my favorite features in the newest release of After Effects. It's called speculative previewing by some folks.
Look at that! Look going over here.
Yep. The feature is also called, in the menu, it's called cache frames when idle. If you can specify in your preferences how long you want that to last. I have mine set down to 2 seconds. So I don't touch After Effects for
Whatever.
2 seconds. It immediately starts caching. Because if I look away to go to look at on Microsoft Teams or Slack or Discord or check an email like an old person, I could be gone for 5-10 minutes just responding to a message or something. And it's so nice that when I come back, my whole timeline is just ready to go. I can preview it and everything. It's like free. It gives you time back for free. Like, it's great.
I love that.
It's my favorite feature. Like, people are going, ooh, multi-frame rendering, which fine, that is nice. But the speculative preview is like an actual workflow speed up that I didn't expect.
That is really wonderful.
I'm a big fan of this little snail guy here that tells us frame render time and what.
Seth, you're gonna love this. That snail has an official name.
Oh, is his name Seth Worley?
No, it's Oscar, as in Oscar Go, or Escargot.
Oh, I did know that. I did know that. How did I know that? Victoria tweeted that, I think, right?
Amazing.
Or I tweeted it on her tweet. I've been pushing. I want people to know that his name is Oscar. But that's also really cool. If you're wanting to troubleshoot what's going on in your After Effects project and why is this project slow, this little guy will let you know. It can control down to the effect level, the expressions. Like, it can tell you what everything. Like, you control down as much as you want. It'll tell you to the millisecond how long that particular item is taking to render, so you can tell how much that frame is taking, how much that layer is taking, how much the effect on that layer is taking, how much the expression on that layer. It's great.
That is very, very clever.
It looks like my wound is taking... What's taking the longest amount of time? My wound is 1.48 seconds to render. Why is that?
I'm right now just going through and fine-tuning. I had some weird keyframe just kind of slid back and forth. And I can tell that that's one of the things that they are fighting original movie even, because you're trying to match two organic performances and marry them together. One of the things that and I had briefly mentioned to each other working on the show was the Mars Attacks Sarah Jessica Parker on a Chihuahua body and Pierce Brosnan hanging from cables. That whole segment is a great maybe I don't want to say exercise for VFX people to do, because it would be tedious and really annoying, but I feel like you would learn a lot from attempting it, and maybe one day we will find just the right Chihuahua and be able to stitch our heads onto it. Like, this is what I'm doing is pretty darn close, to be honest. But I'll reveal to you all one last thing. So look at that. I love that I can scrub through this so quickly. Why was this not the first version of After Effects made 20 years ago? Probably technology and stuff.
They didn't have multiple cores back then.
Dang it. So, yeah, where are we on time machine technology, Michael? Since you know so much about everything.
Here's the problem with time machines. Like, to get really specific for a second.
If you say old time machines.
If you say, I want to go back in time 20 years, the problem is that Earth is not in the same spot 20 years ago.
Yes.
Earth is like a couple thousand million, like, that way. So,
yeah, like what is your relative point for the physical travel of time travel? Because
if I jumped forward in time 1 second, I'd be a splattered bug on the Earth or the inside of the Earth. I'd be like, it's crazy. When you think about actually, since the Earth is moving, you have to move both time and space in your machine, and then it gets crazier.
Mm-hmm. Which is, again, like, isn't it amazing that our thoughts about time travel are still stuck in geocentrism, geocentric.
The Earth isn't moving, the sun is moving around us. Yeah, our ideas of time travel involve the Earth not moving at all.
I love how silly we are, but that is a very, very good point about time travel. Now,
the chat is excited about us doing a whole Mars Attacks VFX and chill episode. By the way, they want Jack Black to make a cameo.
We could get Jack Black, right? Michael.
I mean, we got Tom Holland and Keanu Reeves, as David Fairchild points out.
on that.
There was quite a humorous comment on the Captain Disillusion episode. Someone in the YouTube comment said when he first showed up, they were sure he was going to be the same type of non-chatty guest as Keanu and Tom Holland were. And then he started responding to you guys, and they were like, "Oh, he's real."
Well, do you remember when we were doing our tech check? I remember his Skype for his internet froze. It dropped out, and he froze in this like stoic manner, and we were like, the one time we actually like it's like not the one time we get a guest. We've had several cool guests like Perception and Darby Jacinto, and list goes on and on. But the fact is, like, we actually did get Captain Disillusion, and now it's going to look like we didn't because he's got this frozen thing.
The pain of the last 2 minutes before, honestly, any one of our episodes is always just. Yeah, I crashed Skype, which is why we had a rough start today. And so, like, if we don't have a guest here to have technical issues, I'll fill in the void. All right, as I scrub through this, I'm feeling pretty good about the attachment throughout. One of the little additional things that I've added to this whole mix is that on my actual 3D neck layer, I have a liquefy effect, and the liquefy effect is using, for its distortion mesh offset, a two world expression, just like many other things are. So the actual liquefy mesh will move around with the neck. So the reason I'm reaching for liquefy here is because there are so many specific moments where, to let the head be smooth, the neck's kind of got to meet up to it, or to let the body's movement control the neck smoothly, the neck really is the thing that you can't alter. So by tying down a distortion mesh to translate along with the neck and add keyframes to the distortion mesh itself, I can just go through and say, like, on this frame, I want the neck to be squished out like that and meet up with me here, and slightly correct that it's kind of missing my that hairline moment there, and just do a bit of this. I'm getting a bit of a weird clipping issue, and that's because of it's getting clipped to the rotobrush shape of my original neck, and I must have masked outside of that. But I'm going to pretend that's not a big deal, and instead, look at this. Look at all this speculative previewing going on. I'll just script through. This beginning is rough, but I'm hoping the motion blur covers it up, because I didn't remember that I was leaning forward, which means I should have leaned back and up into frame to have a proper perspective on my head. So this moment, gag is given away for a moment, and it looks like my neck just grows out of nowhere because I don't have the proper perspective going on this head. Maybe I could grab the head element and add a liquefy effect to it. Keyframe the distortion percentage here, and since it's only for a few frames, I'll say, as I lean back, I could do something like this. I'll get a big. I will start distorting the shape of my head and trying to reveal my slight new balding spot right there. It's hard to see this happen to your heroes, I know. But let's see. Also, I'm going to turn down the opacity on my neck colorization bit here as I bring up that liquefy effect. So I can, there we go. This is kind of working. If I have just my take that footage and just do some custom. Let's see. I guess the ears would be more far up, right, and smaller toward the center. This is very professional work. The liquefy tool is a really great way to visually fix stuff that just should look better on screen by being nudged over to the left or right or something. So that's what I'm doing, everyone. And because actually this one is not married to anything. This one I'm just free I'm working blind here. I'm working. What are words, Michael? All right, 100%.
Construct. No, I'm just kidding. What I found interesting, since you asked, is something I learned in a psychology class I was in, is that we tend to assume that the meaning is in the words. Meaning is in words. I'm saying these words, and these words are carrying meaning, but the meaning is inside people. What you say and what somebody hears you saying can be very different things.
Just kidding.
Give me.
I turned you down, but I shouldn't have done that. Sorry.
No,
But no, like you say, put this over there, and you very one thing, but they are can mean something different.
Now, are there instances in real life where people disagree over things that are said aloud?
Oh, all the time. I mean, it's just even between you and a spouse, you could say one thing.
Name 17 examples from the newspaper in the last week.
Seriously, though.
But yes, words and meanings are very, very important.
Bye, Production Crate. Hope you have fun the rest of your day creating.
Love you, Production Crate.
Production Crate.
We're gonna send you a link. You got to come join us for something.
Yeah, we want you on. We want you on the show. We want more crates of productions.
All the crates. Bring all your crates over. We'll make space for them.
VFX and Crate.
I love that. We should. Yeah. Then the show.
It'll be a crate episode.
Oh God.
Yes,
Michael.
The social rights itself. It is amazing. It is.
Hashi celebrates you, and I groan.
Well, it is like when the obvious title of this episode was Seth Becomes Her, right? Like there's no way that we couldn't name it that.
I mean, but it
to which
has
Seth was just like,
implications.
yes.
It has implications that I'm fine with, but
you know,
certain
you don't want to
politics
trivialize.
might
You don't want to
have a problem
trivialize
with.
it.
yeah.
All right. I feel like my
the movement of that stick is looking great.
Right? I know. The second I was like, oh, the couch would
great
move.
stick
So
movement. Let's see.
That's perfect.
I want to go to the.
I'm trying to decide if I want to super comp this or not,
Michael,
just for the window
said-
glare.
All right, Michael. You said that somewhere in the settings you can decide when. So idle delay before the caching starts under general previews. I'm going to make that. Okay, 2 seconds. That I guess that's the smallest you can make it. That's fine.
Smallest you can make it.
Yeah, you got to minimize.
For understandable reasons.
Yes. So I want to turn that idle number down. I like having my autosave at every 2 minutes. And what else? You don't have to do it. There aren't undo levels anymore, right? Like it's just I don't remember. Just doing some AE optimization, everyone. But let's play through some of this in real time and see how bad or not it looks. Hey.
Oh man.
This is almost 1992 good.
Buddy, you could sell this 100% on a... Oh, look at it! You're backwards! If this was a handheld shot and we had somehow, worked in the object tracking with camera tracking, this would pass 100% for...
That would be amazing. So in our final 10 minutes, I'm going to... I think I'm going to try to tidy up the last few bits where the head... hopefully it just looks stretchy and weird. There's a bit of some seaming that I don't love. But also I'm very, very lazy. And don't really want to go fix all of that stuff. I have mask keyframes on here. I do have mask keyframes. You ever have gentle keyframes and you start adding extra ones? It's always good to do a little visual check to see if you ever have back-to-back keyframes on your timeline, because in all likelihood, you're getting some kind of stuttery reaction to that because you added keyframes too close to each other. 2 keyframes too close. And I noticed what happened right here.
To the keyframes and the close.
The keyframes and Wait, what happens there to the neck? Why does my neck... It flips up there for just a second. I'm wondering where that's coming from. All right, where is my next 3D layer? Okay, it's right here. Let's see where that's coming from. So for these frames, why am I getting that neck pop? I'm getting something weird here. I can tell that there are misaligned keyframes somewhere doing something they're not supposed to do, and I want to fix it. Is it the twisting amount? No. That's the other thing I don't think I mentioned because there wasn't really time to go into it. But I'm trying to keep my face specifically 180 degrees away from my, looking forward or whatever. But I do have the ability to add some additional twist to the neck element if I want throughout. Just to do a little bit of subtle back and forth here and there when my head's performance disagreed with the body. I'm also noticing some little bits that I could probably matte choke out. And I've noticed that because I did an additional roto brush on this head to isolate it as an element, it is not preserving the great keying that I had on the hair before from Primat. So I would fix those as some could-be betters about this shot. And also, but I love when we get up close to the camera like this. Look at the gross shadowiness happening on this stupid neck. So fun. So fun. All right. Michael, have we just blown everyone away with our knowledge, or are there any questions from the chat or suggestions that we could respond to on our way out today?
Nobody has any questions. There's some discussion on linguistic theory.
Something
that's interests people. Seth, I'm enjoying your light blue thing you're working on there.
Yeah,
Except you seem to have aberrated your chromatics a little bit more than necessary.
Yeah,
aberrating chromatics. We all remember that from The Sims starting up.
All of our plugins come cranked to 11 the second you put them on. So,
except for every effect in SuperComp, which comes
except for anything that
Yeah.
Stu Mashwitz touched, which
It's
is
true.
like it's subtle, and then you turn it up so you can make sure that it's working, and then you realize you should have left it where he had it. They're there for a reason.
Let's see there.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's much better.
So now there's a little bit of
Oh my God! Look at that. That looks like
glow in the hole.
It almost looks like it's like subsurface scattering almost like of that chunk.
The stick is still going up my butt, unfortunately, at the beginning, but
It is in a straightforward way, everyone.
especially when it freezes on this frame. Like, render it. God, like, why are you holding on it? Render. Move past this. Move. Okay, now we're in safe zone. It's like the shot looks good at the beginning, and then you skip where I'm sitting down and get to right here, and then it looks good going forward. Except I would need to do some simulated ambient occlusion on the stick here, where it's going in between the cushions. There's just this episode is full of innuendo because of the Death Becomes Her episode.
Absolutely. This is wild. And yeah, again, a really tailored, specific recommendation for Death Becomes Her. If you loved, I don't know, what it is, it's a classic movie to me, but it's not because
Yeah. It's not because it's a phenomenal movie. It's a great VFX movie, and all of our wives really like it, and like many women that I know love it. So,
there's some degree of a very one note, like weak man in the face of two assertive women situation. but because they act that out through vanity in the most bizarre, grotesque ways, delightfully Zemeckis level.
It does. It does. It does. It does.
I like this. To be honest, I didn't think this was going to work as well as it did.
Yeah, I'm having the same.
I was hoping it would be
experience
passable. That glow and all of that to your meat hole is just so good.
I don't know why I'm trying to do this at full resolution because it's for YouTube, but
yes, I'm like, maybe we'll render out an amazing 4K promo for the show sometime. We won't.
No.
There's no need for 4K promo. Everyone's looking out on their phones while they're pooping.
Exactly.
Resolution does not equal cinema, people.
No.
Which is why we shoot all of our shows on 35 millimeter lenses. With we don't, and color grade them in ACES 9.0 2000. I know things.
Oh, by the way, now that it's out, we're chatting in the chat about Supercomp, and I was saying, like, some people were talking about some issues happening, and I was explaining I didn't have those issues. I used Supercomp extensively on a VFX for a music video that is now out. So if you want to look up Aesop Rock's latest, Jazz Hands is what it's called.
Link it with your account. Link it with your account.
Link it.
I'll link it. Aesop Rock's Jazz Hands. All of the visual effects by me, except for the initial trash movie, which is just reversed footage. But all the trash flying around him done by me. I used Cinema 4D and rendered out just trash just spinning in place. That's Particulars Fluid sims to make them swirl around the guy, and I use Supercomp to composite them into the shots. It's music video budgets, so some of the stuff's a little. I'm not spending months of time on a tiny budget piece, but considering the amount of time I had to work on it, I'm very happy with how it turned out. Particularly Supercomp made it way faster. Because if I had to try to do particle sims with full 3D stuff and composite around the guy, it would have taken forever. But Supercomp in particular made it go like that.
That is amazing. What we learned here is that having a expanding knowledge of the program you're working in, whether it is cinema or After Effects, you can get so much mileage out of combining tools that different people have made. I love, Seth, that you used Kingpin Tracker and then 3D camera tracked it, and then our free script, and then another After Effects 3D. Weird path to get there, but you knew all the tools, and so it was a great way to do it. And yeah, Michael rendering out debris as sprites, pumping them into Particular, so you'd have the bulk of that rendering done before you were doing the motion of the swarm or whatever, is great. And
some of the shots I had more than 72 unique sprites spinning around the guy with, but a couple of particles. But
wow,
it was cool.
What were the number of frames in each of those when you were dividing up? What did that timeline look like of all your sprites together? Did you have?
It's just a really long sequence layers of all these
Did you manually move over every layer the whirly map?
I did not.
Seth style. Hey now.
No,
I already complimented your meat tube ingenuity.
But I used the take system in Cinema 4D so that I just had each thing on its own take, so I could just say tick 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 tick, render all these takes, and if one piece of track just didn't quite look right, I could just re-render that one piece.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it was all in takes, so it was only one project file. So if I want to change the lighting, I wouldn't have to change it in like a bajillion project files. I should probably do like a full breakdown sometime, because there's a lot of like really neat workflow steps in there. We should get
Michael to work for Maxon. He knows all this stuff.
We should.
I probably should do a breakdown about that. I might do that.
It's an amazing marriage of our software in a clever way.
I'll have to think about it.
Love it. And then Don't worry, we will free you up for the space to make a tutorial by being completely useless all the time. I didn't fix that pop in the middle there.
Hashi, look at that thing. That's
Well,
so good.
and it looks great.
It does.
Hold on, let me finish
Seth's piece
caching
looks great.
to show.
Yeah,
We gotta watch our finals before we go.
I mean, you both got to a really good spot right out of
Yeah.
time at the end here.
Which
This is
never
probably our
happens.
best episode ever that you finished together. It's important when you're working. Finish.
Michael, why?
Welcome. Time out.
Hang on. How did this episode become? This is supposed to so on.
Like how did
point.
this out in our Carnage Meat Tube episode?
Seriously, in terms of God.
And also, you all, I'm going to totally screw up my RAM preview. If I were doing this for realsies, there's this moment where I'm waving my hand back and forth right here to say hi. And one of the things that someone would catch if they were watching this with eyes is that my hand isn't casting a shadow on any of the pieces I'm adding onto here. So what I would normally do is I would add a new solid that I sampled from like the mid-tone of something that is shadowed and not receiving that blue light like this. Add it as a solid, make it a track matte, or use the track, whatever that is, transparency, preserve transparency thing. Change the mode to a great short by Seth word. Feathered mask. And what this will do is that it won't do anything to areas of the skin that are brighter, and it'll preserve some of the dark, but you could add a bit of a fake shadow being cast from this hand and time it with it. So it'll look a bit, I mean, added shadows always look very feathery and weird, but a good version of that would look good.
Good versions of anything. I'm a big fan. Here's my final, where I got it. And I'm not going to tell you all the ways that it could be better. Possibly, me not sticking a stick up my butt.
Hey, we've got to start somewhere.
You do have to start somewhere. I don't know why this is needing to cache again, because it just... So yeah, that's the best result I've gotten on show since Dinosaurs and Vin Diesel and Paul Walker.
That is... The motion...
Sorry, I'm not praising myself. I'm just like, sometimes you look at a shot and you're like, I successfully made it look like someone else did that.
It's because the motion of the broom as you settle into that couch is perfect, because it's exactly what should happen.
Yeah,
and just a bit of subtle interaction. I love that.
You should both be happy with your results. I'm happy with your results,
guys. We did it.
Tremendous thank you to Michael for coming with all the knowledge, to our amazing producer Kay, who suggested this episode. Happy Halloween weekend, everybody.
Yeah.
Stay safe and enjoy. Share your spooky stuff with us and tag us and stuff so we can share your work, everyone.
Tag us in your spookiness. Bye.
Bye.